when the NBA's loudest microphone collided with the league's biggest name. 18,000 fans gasped. Then the internet detonated. One moment, Stephen A. Smith was grinning courtside, savoring a contract extension worth more than some playoff rosters. The next, LeBron James was in his face, low-voiced but volcanic, drawing an invisible line nobody had dared cross in public. Cameras flashed, social feeds erupted, and somewhere in a Brooklyn studio, Dwyane Wade leaned back in his chair, already drafting the words that would make everything even messier. Because this story isn't really about basketball. It's about legacy, loyalty, and how far people will go to defend their own when the entire sports media machine is banking on a fight. Buckle up, because what started with a spicy take on a teenager just became the most combustible feud the modern NBA has ever seen. Stephen A. Smith has built an empire on friction, but on March 3rd, 2020, he found a nerve even he underestimated. That morning on First Take, seated between Molly Karim and JJ Redick, he locked eyes with the camera and delivered a line that instantly trended. If Bronny James is wearing purple and gold, he's fair game, same as any rookie. On paper, it was classic Stephen A. Loud, absolute, designed to slice through the morning scroll. Yet within hours, #LeaveBronny was surging, and not just among Lakers fans. Clips of Bronny's Summer League heart surgery comeback resurfaced, reminding everyone the 19-year-old was carrying more than NBA expectations. Then came the think pieces, the Instagram slideshows, the side-by-side stats proving second-round picks usually get grace. But grace is hard to sell in primetime debate. And Stephen A. smelled ratings. He doubled down on his podcast at noon, paraphrasing one of his favorite refrains, "I don't do pandering, I do truth," before pivoting to an even sharper jab. LeBron's shielding him, and you can't tell me otherwise. Fans noticed the shift from basketball to fatherhood. So did players. Draymond Green sent a 3-word tweet. That ain't it. That gathered 100,000 likes in one afternoon. By sunset, SportsCenter was leading with the flare-up. And deep in Miami, Dwyane Wade's phone pinged nonstop. Friends, reporters, even PR execs at TNT asking if he planned to weigh in. Wade watched the clip twice, shook his head, and texted a single sentence to Carmelo Anthony. He crossed the line. 3 nights later, the Lakers hosted the Knicks in one of those nationally televised matchups where every celebrity with a courtside plug shows up dressed for visibility. ESPN parked Stephen A. 2 seats from the scorer's table, exactly where producers knew the TNT cameras would linger. With 4 minutes left in the second quarter, timeout horn blaring, LeBron strode over. No entourage, no theatrics, just 6'9" of practiced calm. Fans near the bench swear his voice never rose above a conversational hush, but boom mics picked up the heart of it. Talk hoops all you want, leave my family out of it. 8 words, 1 stare, a nod. Then he walked away. It wasn't the screaming match tabloids hoped for. It was something scarier, an alpha establishing territory. Within 60 seconds, the clip landed on X. 10 million views later, the world had a new freeze frame. Stephen A. leaning back, eyebrows arched, part challenge, part calculation, already plotting how to flip confrontation into content. That night on the Stephen A. Smith Show, he praised LeBron's greatness, then branded the encounter weak sauce, insisting real legends welcome criticism. Subscribers ballooned, comment sections turned to bonfires, but for every troll cheering him on, there were 2 parents posting, Protecting your kid is weakness? The debate shifted again, this time from nepotism to parenting, a territory Stephen A. never dominates for long. Fans had barely caught their breath when DWade grabbed a microphone on Carmelo's 7 p.m. in Brooklyn podcast. He started calm, explaining brotherhood forged in Miami heat and champagne parades. Then he dropped the hammer. If someone came for Zaire that way, I'd walk up on him too, period. The room went quiet, and Melo raised an eyebrow, silently coaxing more. Wade obliged. Stevens built a career on loud, respect, but there's a line, kids, family, health. Cross it, you get checked. He didn't curse, didn't yell. He simply stated the code every locker room knows. Viewers clipped the quote, stitched it beside footage of LeBron's timeout walk-up, and suddenly the narrative crystallized. LeBron defending fatherhood, Wade backing the brother he once fed alley-oops. Traditional media scrambled. ESPN aired Wade's comments with minimal context. FS1 looped them like a siren. And in group chats across the league, players chose sides. One veteran texted The Athletic, "Stephen better tread lightly. The NBA's a fraternity. Mess with family and you lose the room." Behind the scenes, Stephen A. and Wade exchanged texts. Sources say Wade wrote 3 paragraphs, respectful but blunt, ending with, "You wield the biggest mic in sports. Swing it responsibly." Stephen A. responded with a thumbs-up emoji and a promise to clarify on Monday. Translation: ratings spike incoming. Monday hit like a tsunami of recycled soundbites. First take: Stephen A. fashions himself the victim of context collapse, replaying the original Bronny segment in slow motion, highlighting every non-insult. Noon: Pat McAfee show, where he calls accusations of personal attacks flat-out lies, my brother. 2 p.m. Club Shay Shay. Sharp probes the fatherhood angle. Stephen Pivot spins to journalistic duty. Evening: his own podcast, 45 minutes of repeating the refrain, "I never disrespected that young man." TikTok stitched the appearances into a 90-second montage titled Stephen A. defending himself longer than Bronny's played in the NBA. It cracked 1 million views in 12 hours. Comments piled up. "Bro, new day, same speech." The repetition began eroding sympathy, even among fans who initially sided with him. JJ Redick observed on air, "When every platform becomes a mirror, you start arguing with your reflection." Meanwhile, ESPN executives watched the view counts climb. One producer whispered to Variety, "Controversy converts to clicks. We're not stopping him yet." Revenue soared, credibility frayed, and the playoffs crept closer. March 28th, at Milwaukee, the Lakers sat LeBron for load management, standard late-season chess. All eyes shifted to Bronny, pressed into 30 minutes of spotlight. He responded with 17 points on 6 for 11 shooting, drilling 3 triples, snagging 2 dimes, 1 swipe. Stat lines matter less than moments, though, and Bronny authored a big one. A transition pull-up 3 over Giannis that put LA up double digits. Crypto Twitter exploded. Highlight editors scrambled. Even Stephen A., live tweeting, tipped his cap. "Young fella showing poise tonight." Yet on First Take next morning, he balanced the flowers with a familiar refrain. One game doesn't erase questions about legitimacy. Skeptics applauded. Wade rolled his eyes in a backstage green room, later telling reporters, "Young blood just played the game of his life. Can he enjoy 24 hours? Inside the Lakers locker room, vibe check. Relieved chaos. Veterans hugged Bronny. Coaches praised shot selection. Equipment staff blasted Lil Baby on speakers. But sources leaked a more serious undercurrent. Players felt the media scrutiny was borderline harassment. One assistant coach told The Ringer, "If a kid drops 0 points, that's development. If Bronny does it, it's clickbait." The tension between narrative and nuance ratcheted higher. Lost in the noise was a piece of business news with giant implications. The very week LeBron confronted Stephen A., ESPN inked Smith to a multi-year extension rumored at 9 figures. Outlets like Front Office Sports drooled over the salary math. Rivals quietly panicked. Critics, however, saw the timing as gasoline. How could a network ask its shiniest star to quiet down when controversy is literally paying the bills? Insiders leaked emails. Executives urging strategic de-escalation, while admitting the feud boosted engagement metrics 34%. In simpler terms, please cool it, but also keep those eyeballs glued. The result? Stephen A. walked the thinnest tightrope imaginable, doubling the volume through syndication while sprinkling in disclaimers about respect and family. For many viewers, the act rang hollow. Reddit threads blasted, "He's milking LeBron content like it's a post-credits scene." Yet the views kept stacking, and in modern media, the scoreboards speak louder than sentiment. The conversation evolved again, this time far beyond ESPN sets. Draymond Green on his podcast unpacked what it means for black fathers to protect their sons in public. DeMar DeRozan told Bleacher Report the saga was a masterclass in how quickly sports talk turns to personal attack. Shannon Sharp, bridging generations, cautioned that when critique morphs into character judgment, you're not debating stats, you're poking souls. For LeBron, the stakes transcended basketball. On the Pat McAfee show, he finally explained, "My name's been fair game 2 decades. My kid's heart surgery isn't." The clip went viral. Sentiment shifted. Analysts who'd framed the feud as superstar thin skin began acknowledging a blind spot in media culture where proximity to greatness can distort empathy. As one anonymous GM told The Athletic, second-generation players will study this moment. The question is, will we? And so, we land at the cliff's edge. The playoffs loom. Bronny's minutes are trending up. Stephen A.'s segments still spike whenever he utters the name James. ESPN swears it wants peace, yet clip compilations populate every feed. Wade remains unflinching, loyalty over likes, while Melo plays the peacemaker X-star. Will Stephen A. escalate again? Will LeBron go mute or pull receipts? Will ESPN quietly pull strings or ride the chaos to record ratings? One thing's certain. In 2025, the game isn't confined to 48 minutes or 94 feet. The real arena is the narrative itself, and the scoreboard refreshes every time someone presses play. Stay locked in, because this battle between legacy and loudness has at least one more quarter to go, and the next possession might rewrite the rulebook on how athletes, analysts, and audiences coexist. The cameras may have cooled, but in backrooms from Bristol to El Segundo, the air stayed electric. ESPN's talent relations desk sifted through nightly threat reports, angry voicemails, glowing praise, and, most worryingly, viewer fatigue metrics inching upward. On the West Coast, LeBron's PR director, Maverick Carter, convened a war room inside Spring Hill's offices. The question on every screen, how do you defend a brand that thrives on positivity while wading through weekly negativity? Their answer was counter-programming. LeBron quietly scheduled 3 hospital visits with cardiac care teenagers, the same demographic Bronny represents. No pressers, just handheld footage posted hours later with modest captions. Perspective. The internet swooned, sentiment shifted, And for once, Stephen A. was not the headline. He felt it. That Monday, his A-block rating dipped 4 share points. Producers panicked. Drama, it seemed, could overdose an audience. In the league office, Deputy Commissioner Mark Tatum fielded owner texts. Is ESPN running the league or is the league running ESPN? Televised friction sells tickets, sure, but if the feud overshadowed playoff narratives, sponsors might balk. Tatum floated a novel fix: formal mediation on air under league supervision. On paper, it smelled of diplomacy. In reality, it was a ratings grenade with a countdown nobody could calculate. Western Conference first round, Game 3, Lakers versus Grizzlies, Crypto.com. Arena vibrated under towel-whipping fans, but at halftime the scoreboard read Memphis 59, LA 51. Inside the tunnel, Stephen A. prepped a quick sideline hit for ESPN2's altcast, headset askew, notes fluttering. He opened with a jab at LeBron's passivity, tossed a stray mention of Bronny's plus-minus, and before the segment ended, the arena's jumbotron, delay be damned, blasted the feed to 19,000 witnesses. LeBron, mid-stretch, glanced up, caught the clip, then exhaled through clenched teeth. Cameras later captured only the aftermath. LeBron and JaVale McGee corralling teammates with eyes forward, noise off. But inside that locker room, tempers sparked. Veteran guard Patrick Beverly reportedly snapped, "You still on the kid, bro? It's halftime of the freaking playoffs." The outburst leaked in minutes. Hashtags erupted. And by the time the third quarter tipped, a new villain storyline had inked itself in neon. The Lakers stormed back, flipping an 8-point hole into a 10-point win on a vintage LeBron takeover. 11 fourth-quarter points, 2 thunderous chasedowns, and a game-sealing crossover pump fake 3. Post-game at the podium, he iced reporters with a single barb. Play ball, not narratives. It trended for 2 days, but beneath the applause pulsed a darker echo. If the feud hijacked the playoffs again, league fines were on the table. The Lakers bowed out in 6, and within a week, the franchise assigned Bronny to their South Bay affiliate for a development block. Cynics saw demotion. Insiders saw freedom from relentless primetime scrutiny. In empty bleacher gyms, Bronny logged 40-minute nights, tightened his handle, learned pace. By early July, his stat lines morphed. 26 to 7 to 5, 4 for 8 from deep, and a highlight dunk so violent it cracked the top of Instagram's Explore page. Stephen A. tried ignoring the reel. Ratings research warned Bronny praise underperformed, but the tape was too good. He opened First Take with a half smile. "Ladies and gentlemen, that boy looked impressive." The word choice felt like a dam surrendering a single brick. J.J. Redick pounced. "Call it what it is, Stephen. Growth." Social media scoreboard. Redick plus 100 retweets. Stephen A. Chim's 200. NBA Summer League tickets in Vegas sold out 4 straight nights as fans flocked to witness the growth live. Bronny didn't disappoint. Averaged 18 to 6'4", posted a usage rate that screamed rotational guard, and more importantly, exhaled. "Feels like hoops again," he told a sideline reporter, grin wider than the Strip's marquees. For the first time in months, the storyline centered on the kid's game, not his gene pool. The culture inhaled a collective breath. Then J.J. Redick lit a match. July 18th, guest hosting NBA. Today, Redick closed the show with what looked like an off-script aside. "I played 15 years, took more heat than threes, but never once did my critics drag my kids into it, because I didn't have Hall of Fame DNA. That's privilege we don't discuss. Camera operators froze. Producers signaled wrap. Reddick kept rolling. If our analysis can't separate evaluation from exploitation, we're failing at journalism and humanity. The clip rocketed across X, peaking at 15 million views in 12 hours. Commentators hailed it as the enough moment. ESPN brass convened at dawn. By 10 a.m., they issued a statement acknowledging the vital distinction between player analysis and personal boundaries. The takeaway line, "We can do better." No direct apology to LeBron or Bronny, but the subtext blared through every feed. Stephen A., live at noon, addressed the statement with rehearsed humility. "If my words blurred that line, that wasn't my intent." Immediately, #blurred line looped atop trends. Some heard accountability, others heard optics. But the shift was undeniable. ESPN's loudest voice had, however briefly, turned the volume down. Sensing cultural closure and salivating over numbers, TNT partnered with the league for a primetime special. Legacy and loudness, a courtside conversation. Moderator, Dwyane Wade, equal parts brother and neutral star. Guests, LeBron James and Stephen A. Smith. No press aids, one commercial break. The stakes felt WrestleMania big, yet the vibe was surprisingly civil. Wade opened soft. Childhood anecdotes, shared Akron roots. Then he tilted the chair. "Stephen, you said protecting Bronny was weak. You stand on that?" Smith inhaled, eyes flicking to LeBron. "I stand on the principle of equal critique," he began, voice tempered. "But I concede, my framing ignored the weight a father carries." LeBron nodded once, then delivered a masterclass in measured force. Stories of heart surgery nights, sleep lab monitors, the moment a cardiologist whispered, "Full recovery," into a stunned family's silence. So, when a segment reduces him to privilege, understand what's underneath. Cameras caught Smith swallowing. "Fair?" he muttered. Wade pivoted. "What does accountability look like going forward?" Smith proposed a new segment series profiling second-generation players, co-hosted by ex-NBA dads. LeBron offered Spring Hill production support, proceeds to cardiac care nonprofits. The audience applauded. Ratings demolished cable records. But more importantly, the feud felt finite. Critics later dubbed it the most productive 12 minutes in sports talk history. By September, Nielsen data rendered a paradox. Stephen A.'s average viewership slid 6% year over year, controversy fatigue, but sponsor revenue climbed 8%. LeBron's Q-score bounced to its highest since 2016, fueled by fatherhood narrative. Bronny opened preseason camp penciled as the Lakers' sixth man, a role nobody begrudged. In classrooms at Syracuse's Newhouse School, journalism professors dissected the saga as a case study in parasocial friction. PR firms forged Bronny clauses into client media training decks. And on sports talk message boards, a fresh truism took hold. Loud sells until it shouts over humanity. Stephen A. later admitted on All the Smoke that the sit-down shifted him. He still delivered scorching takes, but a subtle line emerged. Family references earned a mental flag. "Not worth the clip," he'd joke off air, sipping herbal tea instead of his trademark quadruple espresso. LeBron? He finished the season averaging 24-7-8, earning All-NBA second team at age 40, then announced a documentary, Bloodline Ball and Balance, focusing on athletes parenting athletes. Executive producer Dwyane Wade. Narrator James Earl Jones. Premiere set for Sundance 2026. Pre-sales smashed records. So, what lingered after the last viral shout faded? Maybe it's this. In an era where algorithms reward extremes, restraint can feel radical. Stephen A. rediscovered it. LeBron embodied it. Wade weaponized it as mediation. And Bronny, once a prop in somebody else's monologue, earned a narrative no hot take can confiscate. His own. Yet the echo remains, because somewhere right now, a rookie's name is trending beside a pundit's paycheck, and the cycle readies to repeat. The only question is whether we, the viewers, learned anything from the combustion that lit up courtside and forced us to squint at the line between critique and character. If you're still listening, hit that like, smash subscribe, and ring the bell, because the next showdown might be loading even as the credits roll. And this time, you'll know exactly where to look when the mic starts to sizzle.